Hello and welcome to another episode of New Gameplay. Today I'm your host Jeff Cork, joined today by Matthew Miller.
Hello.
Leonardo Vader.
Thank you.
And that's it, just the three of us. What are we looking at here, Miller?
We're looking at a game called Gris. At least we think it's called Gris.
Gris.
Gris. But it happens to be the color gray in the language of French.
The dominant color in this that we are watching.
Well, as we'll see a little further into this game, this is kind of an allegory kind of a game. It's we have this beautiful little story.
She's got journey legs.
This girl, she's got journey legs. It's not the only thing that's going to remind you of Journey in this game.
And this game is meant to be experienced with three dudes talking over it, right?
I think so. Yeah, we're really going to add to the beauty right now. But we did want to take a look at Gris ahead of its announced mid-December release because it's really cool. It's a very pretty game, and I've been impressed by the visuals, the music, and it's just a thoughtful, quiet little game that I think will remind some people of Journey, of games like that, games like Flower. If you could hear over our annoying talking, you'd hear that there's a beautiful soundtrack going on in the background here.
Not interested.
Nah, what do we care?
Here's me saying words.
And
Doop,
in this allegorical story, there's something kind of going on with this girl whose world is sort of shattered, and she falls into a kind of colorless gray world.
Gris.
And over the course of the storyline, we see color begin to come back into her life.
Okay.
And thus come into the world of the game as we journey. Part of what's happening early on is that there's almost nothing happening. As you'll see, after she sort of falls to earth here, a lot of what we're going to be showing off today is just a little bit of a sense of the way movement works and a sense of the general tone of the world, because early on there's this sense that there's not much to her life. She's moving through a space where there's not much to do. It's it's almost just a running simulator in the early minutes of play, because that relates to what's happening in the themes that they're kind of trying to play around with.
Okay.
But over time, it gets more sophisticated.
Okay. The opposite of over time, my initial impression of this character is I like her face, and I hate virtually everything else about her.
You don't like the way she looks, huh?
I don't like it. Leo, can you be the tiebreaker?
You're being kind of materialistic.
Fair point.
You want her to have more color.
I'm waiting to find out what her personality is like.
It's not the color that's the problem for me.
Okay.
But
well, she, as you can see, is just kind of walking along. Things are not going great for our girl, but they're going to get better. I just hit the A button, by the way. She fell down.
To slump. Press
to
A.
Slump.
Reverse
press
jump.
A to slump. Over time, what's going to happen, and I don't think in the short span of things that we're going to see here, we're going to see much of this, but over time, her dress begins to take on new forms and new shapes that let her better navigate the world that she's moving through.
Okay. And we've got all day to say this could be 4 hours long.
We could just play the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
See, now we're running. Now we can jump. Now we're going to get some music. A lot of the game is just sort of moving through these beautiful watercolor aesthetic spaces. One of the things that I've said about this game when I wrote about it is that almost any moment of the game could kind of be freeze framed and cut out to be a kind of a piece of fine art that you'd hang on a gallery wall or something like that.
I can see this in a frame at IKEA.
There you go.
Can you die in this game?
Not that I've encountered. There's no death. The puzzles that you do run into as your dress gains new abilities, those puzzles are rarely especially difficult. This is definitely one of those games that is chiefly concerned with selling its atmosphere, selling individual moments of beauty and of reflection. It's a quiet game, largely. You are regularly running into these little motes of light that you gather that connect up into these kind of constellations that go into the sky. And there's not a lot of direct explanation of exactly what's going on. It's very much kind of an experiential, thoughtful little game.
So you said it's mostly about the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Is the gameplay ever especially fun or especially obtrusive?
I think that it does get to be a lot more fun in terms of having to kind of look at your environment and figure out a thing to do. But it never gets to a place where it's incredibly complicated. The hardest puzzle that I ran into maybe took me 3 or 4 minutes to solve.
Well, it's interesting because Journey didn't really have brain-breaking puzzles, but to Leo's point, moving around in that world was such an incredible joy.
Yeah.
And sliding down those like sandy dunes was so much fun.
Yep.
Does this have anything similar to it in terms of locomotion?
I think so. I think that one of the things I'm being hesitant about is I don't want to spoil some of the things that happen later on, with the things that change with your dress and the things that change with the world. But suffice to say that the title of the game, Gris, which as we said means gray, that begins to change as she moves through the world, and she begins to have more color in her world and in her life.
Like the Saboteur.
Yeah, like the Saboteur. Nice, what is that, 2009 reference?
Yeah, thank you.
As far as navigation, I think, unlike Journey, which was a 3D play space, this remains a 2D play space throughout. But I think there are those, again, I'm very sure, direct homage to Journey. There are moments where you're sort of sliding down hills and these long curves as the camera zooms back and you have these kind of broad looks at things. And you also have these other moments like what we're seeing right now where it's always seeming like she's trying to get back to something, get back to this this figure who she lost, that she was dropped from up in the sky.
That's the color red, Jeff.
That's right.
And that's not gray, Jeff.
Okay. Thank you for the point of clarification.
With each new color that you get a change in both the tonality of what she's sort of moving through and what's happening in the world, but also more sophisticated actions over time. So I can say, without spoiling anything that's too far in, the first thing that happens with her dress is that she gains the ability to turn it into a block, so that when something is, like when the wind is blowing really strongly, she can hold herself in place without having to be pushed back.
Okay.
Interesting.
The later things are similarly, that I've encountered anyway, have been kind of those locomotion-based things. And of course, they start to combine in different ways, so that one ability that you have might flow together with another ability that you have, and that's necessary to be able to solve situations.
I saw you've put 5 hours into this game so far?
Yeah, it's... I get the sense from playing it that it's not like a super lengthy game or anything, but it's also not something that you're going to be done within like half an hour or anything.
Mm-hmm. And no word yet if we're reviewing it? Do we know?
This game won't be out until mid-December. I think that there's a strong likelihood that we will try to evaluate a final version of it at some point.
Mm-hmm. Devolver put this out, Jeff Cork.
I don't believe it.
I swear to God.
I'll allow it. Okay, so now you're the aforementioned slide.
Yes, indeed. I think one of the things I discovered about this game pretty quick was it is best played with your headphones on, without annoying people talking over it.
What if I just want to invite a couple boys over?
I think this would be a great for a night with the boys. Have some drinks,
Riff it out.
But yeah, it's a game that is very relaxing in a lot of ways.
But that's what you're paying for. If we were to just not talk and let you listen to it, then you're basically pirating the game.
That's true. That's true.
There you go.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a lot more to belabor about Gris here, other than to say that...
because you don't want to tell us what all the power-ups are.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you what all those are. I mean, you don't think we should share all those, do you?
Can you fly?
I don't know yet. I'm not at the end. I have not gotten any flight things. I'll tease that there's something that makes moving through water really interesting.
Swimming?
Boat.
Surfboard?
Here, this will be a good place to kind of wrap things up as we get to the real title screen of the game.
Very nice.
So there you go. There's a look at Gris. It's out pretty soon here. It's out in mid-December. I thought this was a really beautiful little project. I'm excited to finish it out and see how it's all coming together.
Yeah. Well, thanks for playing this, Miller. We appreciate it.
You got it.
And Leo, thanks for being such a nice guy.
Cork said everybody hates Gris earlier, so thought we should immortalize that in video rather than just let us forget about it.
That's before I was informed.
That's right.
That the S is silent. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Bye.